Hey, good morning and welcome to the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. Hope you're doing well today. I almost I almost hit the end stream. And of course, as soon as I do that, they come bubbles. Bubbles is coming. Anyway, hey, good morning. I want to talk about Scrum and the framework designed to optimize individual and team time and why it's set up the way it is. And of course, Bubbles comes as soon as I show the show. And here is Bubbles. Anyway, about Scrum, the framework is designed for the team and individual time. And why is that important? I'm going to talk about that a little bit in this show and kind of frame it. So to speak, we're talking a lot of frames of Scrum and why it's important to do all the aspects of Scrum and in a very short, brief moment of time. Anyway, 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach, where we try to help you bring more value to your customer without working extra hours and have a little fun along the way. So I think about today is Wednesday where we do We Team and HR Wednesday. And I wanted to talk about teaming and how Scrum is really good for the team environment and tries to optimize both the individual time and the team time. And we need to bring up more practice of the team time. And I'm going to talk about how that works. So what I was reflecting on, you always see these military boot camp or drills, or there's groups that used to go out when we pre 2020. They used to do like team building exercises and things like that. And if you look at what those things were, let's talk about that military one where the individuals are running, they're jogging, they have to have a good maintenance of individual self, right? They have to be in shape. They have to try. There's certain levels what they have to bring. And then they get to an obstacle. And the goal of the obstacle is to force that squadron or that team to work together to conquer the obstacle. And did a lot of that in that self-teamwork building groups in the workshops, things like that. So there's a balance between when the individual has to perform and when you need the team to overcome a blocker or an obstacle. And that's what Scrum is built to do, right? It kind of forces the team to come together to talk about those things in a way if they haven't done it in the past. When they get to the point where they can bring it up anytime and everything's flowing, maybe you don't need the rigor of a framework like Scrum, maybe, right? But maybe it comes in handy because every once in a while people go off on tangents. Not that we ever go on tangents. No, never a tangent, do we, Bubbles? So the idea being you got Scrum, right? There's only 4 meetings in Scrum, right? Depending on how long your sprint time box is, which is also considered an event in Scrum. You have your planning session, you have your daily Scrum, and you have your review or your review with the team and the stakeholders, and you have your retrospective. So there's only 4 meetings. And then if you could say, well, each daily Scrum's a meeting, so there's more than one Scrum, more than one meeting. Okay, fine. But the primary shape of those 2. Those 4 meetings are designed to bring the team together. So in ideal situation, the rest of the time, your team is working as individuals to perform the optimal way they can. However, what Scrum does build is a repetitious way of getting people used to working as a team, used to coming together free, and it builds that trust level over time. Sometimes you can build it quicker depending on how bad the trust factor is in the organization to help each other solve a problem or work together to solve an obstacle. Like when those military people or those team building exercise people, they come to an obstacle. There's no way for the individual to do it. Maybe the individual could figure out how to get themselves over, but what about the rest of the team, right? The whole idea in those obstacles is bring the entire team over the obstacle, and one person is not strong enough nor smart enough to do it all themselves, right? So they need everyone to contribute to that event. And what Scrum does with those 4 events is bring that team together. It does force them, encourages them, but it kind of forces that function where they come together to solve problems. So if they encounter a barrier, why they're in the middle of the scrum or the week or the sprint, they are encouraged to bring them up at the daily scrum. What doesn't do is doesn't prevent anybody from bringing them up anytime during the day, right? So many people think, well, I didn't want to bring that. I had a problem. I'm saving it for daily scrum. Well, that's not the purpose of daily scrum, right? The daily scrum is to make everyone aware in case someone didn't miss it or didn't see it or something was missing, and you're still blocked, right? You're still stuck. Maybe you bring all the minds, like in a mastermind, to that discussion to help find ways to unblock those barriers, and that's what that's for. But it doesn't limit, right, the ability to the team to interface with each other. It's like, oh, I can't ask anybody a question until I get daily scrum. Whoever's teaching you that is teaching you wrong, incorrectly about Scrum, right? And these are the kind of things that we talk about, and I share in our Slack channel, and we talk about. But if you're learning that in your classes or whatever, that's not what Scrum's about, right? Scrum brings that opportunity in case it hasn't been addressed prior, right? Because a lot of times people forget, or they post it up in a chat, especially in this new hybrid environment or whatever, and people just don't recognize it because they're so busy doing the things they do. Maybe there's a lot of things interfering because they haven't gotten to a point where they're fully into a Scrum mode of a framework for the team. Maybe there's lots of status reports. There's all kinds of stuff going on that brings these interferences to happen. So what Scrum does is it optimizes the time needed. And this is where a facilitator Scrum Master really earns their bucks as a part of their training and helping the teams understand how to optimize that team or make them most productive when they are together. Because there's a lot of people out there that say, well, I'm not as productive when I meet with the team, because they don't see the productivity of that team grouping activity. What is the productivity? What's the result? What's the outcome? And our job is to help them understand that and see that in the outcome, or gain it. Maybe they're not gaining any. Maybe you shouldn't have it. I don't know. But where that gain comes together when they have those group sessions to cover stuff, to make that say, oh, yeah, well, that was good. Glad you brought that up because we missed it yesterday, right? There's little statements like that just like, oh, yeah, we did miss that yesterday. Oh, yeah, we could have got this done yesterday, but we missed it, right? There's a daily scrum. The reviews, showing the product to the rest of the team, because you're always working, showing things off to individuals and things, but maybe you just haven't gotten it out to the rest of the team. Maybe they've never seen it. What if they have to solve it or work on it next time? They have no idea what they're getting into. So I wanted to share that with you. Scrum Framework provides an opportunity or framework to optimize team time and individual time. Think about it, they only need 15 minutes a day to do the daily scrum. Most of the other part of the day, the other 7.5 hours, is individual time or whatever time they need to get the job done that they need to do, right? And in between there, you can interface as a team because it doesn't create barriers. It doesn't say outright, you shall not talk to your team during the rest of the day. It never says that. And I'm always surprised how many people think because it's that time for that, they can't talk. And we as Scrum Masters have to make them understand that, yes, you can. You can ask for help. And there's ways to optimize that team interaction and individual work. With that, I want to wish you all a great day. Happy scrumming, and we'll see you next time, because I don't have to teach kiddos anymore. All right. Take care, everyone. Have fun. Bye, Bubbles. Say bye, Bubbles. She just smiles at me. All right. Take care, everyone. See you next time.